Hi you guys, it's been a little while. I'm sorry. I'm going to catch up a little bit and get some chapters done with Jeremy Fink. So when we left off, his mom had just come in and realized that he'd opened the package and opened the box. And I left off with saying, your 13th birthday seemed like a million years away back then. She looks so sad that I wish she were angry at me instead. Not that she has a bad temper or anything, but she's big on boundaries. I know if the package had my name on it, she never would have opened it. Even though your dad insisted he would be here to give you the box himself, I knew that deep down he didn't believe it. The instructions to send it to Harold were in his will. My throat feels like a snake is wound around it, but I managed to ask. He believed that palm reader on the boardwalk, didn't he? She lets out a big sigh. I don't know. I think some people have a greater sense of their mortality than others. He knew the number of years that were allotted to him. Neither of us speaks for a minute, then I whisper, I'm sorry I opened the package. If I were a little bit younger, I would have blamed it on Lizzie. Surprisingly, she smiles. Your dad would have opened it too. He was curious about everything. That's why he loved flea markets and collecting so much. He was fascinated by what objects people kept and what they threw away. Remember those stories he used to make up about each thing he found? I sit down across from her and nod. I do remember, but those memories are foggy. After Dad died, it was like all the furniture was talking to me, but in Dad's voice. I had to make a conscious effort to remember that the hall table was just a table, and not the very table on which the Declaration of Independence was signed. Of course, it wasn't. She runs her hand over the scratches that burrow deep into the kitchen table. Remember what he said about this broken table when we found it? I shake my head. When we found this at a tag sale, your dad said it belonged to an old woman who was very overweight. She was sitting at the table when she saw it in the newspaper that her lottery numbers had come in. In her excitement, she fainted and fell forward onto the table, breaking one of the legs underneath her weight. Mom gestures to the box and says, he was so excited the day he got this box. He said it was the most unique one he'd ever seen, with all those keyholes. You were 6 at the time, and he started filling it for you that very night. He didn't engrave it until a few months later. My eyes began to sting with the onset of tears, but I blinked them away. So, you know what's in it? She shakes her head. He was very secretive about it. He kept it at the comic store in the vault. So that's why I never saw it around the apartment. Do you have an extra set of keys? I hold my breath until she answers. She shakes her head. There was only one set. It takes 4 different keys to open it, and I mailed them to Harold. I can't imagine what he did with them. Maybe Dad made an extra set and kept them at the store. I could ask Uncle Arthur if... She just shakes her head. I'm sorry, Jeremy. I cleaned out all your father's things from the store. There's no other set. I pull hard on the top of the box, not really expecting anything to happen. It's sealed up tight. How am I going to open it, then? I ask. I honestly don't know. She stands up and takes the pitcher of iced tea out of the fridge. As she reaches for 2 glasses, she says, Lizzie's dad has some tools. We can ask him to saw through it if you haven't found a way to open it before your birthday comes. I jump out of my chair, nearly knocking it over, snatching the box from the table. I hug it to my chest. I'll take that as a no, then, she says, sounding slightly amused. That's a no, I say, firmly tightening my grip. I can't let Dad's box get sawed in half after hearing how much he loved it. After 5 years, he has sent me a message with one instruction: to open this box by my 13th birthday. Somehow, no matter how impossible it might seem, I am going to do exactly that. So that's actually the end of chapter 2. I should have just kept going in the last video and finished out the chapter. But I am going to stop now so that I can make chapter 3 be its own video. Okay, so he is determined now. There are 4 different keys to open the box, and they're all missing. And Mom is convinced there's no extra set, and so he is determined that somehow he's going to find the keys.